Let's see here. Connie, we have a in a second. We're going to get started here in just a minute, everybody. Everyone should have a worksheet, or even if you just have a journal, that's more than enough. So there's nothing that's on the worksheets that I'm not going to read aloud if you prefer just to use your journal for the processes we're going to engage in together. And did anyone not get a red stone? Very important. One, not to throw it at me. Two, you need a red stone. Okay. Nancy, will you bring her a red stone? Thank you. Oh, I don't need that. This has to go right here. Uh-huh. Okay, take a deep breath. Okay, go ahead. Do it 2 more times. Thank you. That is our producer, Nancy June, everyone. Thank you very much, Nancy. Welcome, everyone, to our 2026 intention setting. I'm so glad everyone is here on New Year's Day. It's my favorite day of the year because it's the perfect, for me, beginning. It's not a beginning, and it's not an ending. It's a beginning. And is everyone up for a beginning here today? Yes. It's kind of like today. It's like where 2025 and 2026 come together and make a baby. But depending on how 2025 was, the intimacy may be warm and loving or rough and angry, and how we co-create this year together. I'm really glad you're here, and this intention setting involves some setting of intentions, but I want you to know now it comes towards the end. There's a lot of preparation that we're going to do to get to that point of setting our intentions for 2026, and so you're going to want to do your best to trust me along the way. We're going to be doing some ritual, some journaling and reflecting, some honest self-assessment, and then we're going to move into some visioning and co-creating our life with spirit and our theme of our highest and next. Sound good? Yes. Good. We have one of our incredible practitioners, Lisa Berquist, who's going to come up and say a little opening blessing for us today.
Good morning. Oh, it's so nice to look and see all these beautiful faces. All right, let's just take a breath in, close your eyes if you're comfortable, and just feel the beauty and the power and the sacredness in this place, in this present moment, knowing that as we gather together on this first day of the new year, that we are blessed and that we are surrounded by the divine, knowing that each one of us is that same emanation of joy, of beauty, of love. And it's with great, great pleasure that we open our hearts and open our minds and simply move into this space of knowing that the right words come, that the right words are felt, that whatever it is we need to hear is spoken inside of our own being, and we just simply open our ears and listen and know that all is unfolding perfectly and in divine right order. And it's with such great thanksgiving that I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit, for this opportunity, for this time together with Josh to lead us through this intention setting for this beautiful year that is unfolding, knowing that all is well and all is God. And so it is.
Thank you, Lisa. I love that we can begin in prayer, and it's something to know if you're new to Mile High here, is that we believe that we're at choice about how we live our lives, but we believe that we always do so with a greater intelligence. And I love that we've started this session in prayer because it reminds me of what Julia Cameron said. She said that the creative process is not one of control, but of surrender. And it's this idea that I don't have to do all this work to create my year myself. I can actually believe that there is an intelligence or something in the universe, believe it or not, that knows better than I do. And I can, through improving my relationship with it, unlock its magic in my life. And I can step in with trust and not control into this new year in a very meaningful and more emphatic way. I want to greet everyone who's watching online. And if you're watching online, there are worksheets for this session that are on the webpage, but you don't really need them. As long as you have a journal, and that's true for everyone in this room too, you're okay. We are going to do a little ritual, which you're probably going to have to watch or find something at home if you want to participate in. But other than that, you should be fully on board with us today. Our theme for our intention setting this year is initiating our highest and next. Initiating our highest and next. Does that sound good to everybody? It's an interactive workshop, by the way. I'll be looking for some sense of validation here or there. And in a way, it's inspired by the great Norman Lear. Everyone here know who Norman Lear is? Lived to be a little over 100 years old, created All in the Family and all these great TV shows that helped create good creative tension in the American consciousness to improve relations with one another, but a very wise and successful person. And he has all these great one-liners that I just adore. One of them that I appreciate so much, when we laugh, we are one. Isn't that true? Yes. Wow, when we laugh, we are one. Another one is, I'm just another version of you. What a great bumper sticker. Right? I'm just another version of you. His memoir title, which has definitely resonated with me in my 2025, Even This I Get to Experience. I think those of us who've been in this tradition for a while, that's a statement that's kind of refreshing because we tend to blame ourselves for whatever's happening in our lives. You know, you're hearing me say, hey, we co-create our lives, and then we go, did I co-create that crap? No, we don't have to go there. We have to take responsibility for ourselves in the midst of what we're going through, but we can pause and say, even this I get to experience and be our best self anyways. The greatest thing and meaningful thing for next that Norman Lear said is he said that a key phrase for his life is over and next. Over and next. He said that the key to the success of his life was recognizing that when something is over, it's done, and next is always waiting for you. He had a quote that I'd love to share with you. We've got a slide of it. One of the things he said, and this has to do with him leaving a job and giving a speech where he's been honored, and he starts it off by saying, as much as I love being here with you, it doesn't compare to how much I'm looking forward to the taste of coffee in the morning. That creative urge of what is next. And he says, as much as I've loved it, as grateful as I am to all of you, this evening is over and I'm on to next. When something, however great it was, is over, it wants to be over without regret because immediately available is next. Reflecting on this later, I imagined building a hammock between over and next and realized that is where the struggle to live in the moment resides. And so we're immediately going to move into a ritual today of clarifying for ourselves what is over. What is over. And this is where the trust part comes in. You don't absolutely have to know exactly what next is going to look like. In fact, have enough trust to not need to know. But have the strength and the trust within yourself and this highest intelligence, if you are open to it, to be willing to identify what is over and to step boldly into what is next, trusting that not your past, but what is to come has your best needs spiritually, physically, emotionally, relationally in mind. Are you open to doing that with me? So all of us have these red stones that you're not supposed to throw at me here. And we're just going to do a little ritual. I just want you to grab your stone in your hand. And I invite you to become aware of that which is over. Trust again that inner wisdom. Maybe it says something that doesn't make sense. Maybe you're very clear. Maybe it's not your relationship with so-and-so, but maybe it's the way you're relating with so-and-so. Right? Maybe it's not your job. Maybe it's the way you're going about doing your job. So know that it can be a little ethereal, but just get really clear about what is over for you. You got it? When you do have it, I'm going to invite you to walk. It's going to be, you can't go this way, so it's going to have to be down the middle. I'm going to invite you to come down. Wait, do I know? Got to practice what I preach. Drop it in, and then you're going to come over and you're going to take a white stone that represents what's next. You don't have to know what it is yet. If you know, that's great, but just grab one. They're a little chalky, so there's some hand sanitizer here if you need it, but I'm going to invite you to keep this stone. You're going to put it on an altar place in your car or throw it at me if you don't like the workshop. Okay, so when you're ready, go ahead. Yes. If you're watching online, you can grab something that represents, you could just take a moment to write over and articulate what that is for you, and right next to it, just write next. And even if it's blank, even if you're drawing an open circle, it's going to open you up to receive and step into what that is. Thanks for doing this today. I've learned to live with it. In just a minute, when it's about halfway through. You're doing good. You see that clock? When it says 10:16, then we're going to do it. Do you see the seconds counting up? bad juju. That's bad juju right there. So as people are continuing to release their stone and grab a white one, I want to share a little bit with everybody. And if you're in line, you can hear me while you're moving through the ritual so we can keep things going. But a few things about initiating our highest and next that you may want to consider for this year. I've got a slide for that one too. Initiating our highest and next demands that we hold ourselves to the present and not the past. And I invite you to consider today what it would mean if you made the commitment to hold yourself present and not past. We all have an inner critic. Anyone here not have an inner critic? We all have voices that we interpret of people who were perhaps abusive or bullying or didn't see who we were in the past, and we hear their voices too. Anyone not have that? We all have that. We all have whisperings from a negative collective consciousness that puts us down. And I want you to recognize that when those things come up, they're not present, they're relics. They're past aspects. They never go away. It's kind of like the James Webb telescopes when it sees all those old galaxies out there. They're part of your cosmology, but we don't have to give them present attention. And if we keep listening and getting stuck in those voices, we'll never create the space for the new voices that we're looking for to emerge. And part of how we do that is we hold ourselves to the present and not the past, which means allow yourself not to just be a new person, but a renewed person that is not against yourself, but is for yourself. What would it mean in 2026 if you were on your own side? Right? Not abandoning yourself or rejecting yourself or holding yourself on the outside of your good, but fully encouraging yourself to step into it. Next one. Initiating our highest and next demands that we enter a newfound spiritual realization through our humanhood. And I'm talking about releasing what is over, but one of the things I want to let you know is you're never going to be able to release what is over if you cannot acknowledge the experience that it gave you. So if you're still denying the hurt that something caused you, you're going to be unable to move past it. And what I mean by entering a greater amount of spiritual realization through entering our humanhood is to completely honor our human experience. It's only then, not only that we can come to an authentic spiritual experience that's not fluffy or airy-fairy or fake it till you make it or artificial, because we've lived it. We've earned it by walking through that human experience. And the other thing I would say is we're not going to be able to allow what was past to go, what is over to be over, unless we're willing to acknowledge whatever our experience was. You know, that whether we felt victimized or we're angry and in a judgmental place, whatever it is, if we don't acknowledge that, we can't move forward. Does that make sense? So that's an essential part of releasing and initiating what is highest and next. And the last one, it demands that we graduate from plans to faith, control to trust, conditional happiness to unconditional happiness. And so it's interesting to be doing an intention setting today, but at the same time, to set the intention to live with a greater demand of trust, to where our intentions are more open-ended than they are closed-minded. That they are more putting out the page as opposed to outlining what every little piece needs to be like. That we're living from a place of recognizing that right here in this moment is everything we need to live the best life. The healing we need, the love that we need, the inspiration that we need, and our job is to improve our relationship with this moment and realize that it's true of not only this moment, but the next one, and the next one, and the next one. This means living with less worry. Any worriers here? This means not limiting this moment with regret. Right? And to put it in a spiritual context, it means committing not to living in our own version of the universe, but in God's universe, in Spirit's universe, to realize that there's always a higher intelligence acting than the one we know, and it's our job to cultivate that and live along with that. So we're almost done with our stones, which is great. And I'm going to go ahead and invite you, if you have a worksheet, to go ahead and grab it. or if you have a journal, just open up the page. And we're going to move into a process of doing some reflecting on the year that was. And this reflecting, for me, is essential to getting clear for articulating the year that we want to be in 2026. And so we're just going to take 3 minutes for each question. So you may have to write fast, or you may want to come back to this later, but often the best answer is just right there. And the first question is, what were some of the challenges you faced in 2025, and what is the gift they can bring you in 2026? What were some of the challenges you faced in 2025, and what is the gift they can bring you in 2026? We have a little quote that goes along with that from the great Aldous Huxley, who said, "Experience is not what happened to you, it is what you do with what happened to you." So just take a few minutes to write and reflect on that. Just sit down there. Good. I will let you know. Just give 1 more minute for answering that question. So remembering, you can always go back to this. We're going to move on to the next question, which is, what is something that gave you joy and life in 2025 that you want to build on in 2026? So what can you identify that gave you joy and life, that the momentum that cultivated you can carry on into 2026? quote that goes with this one is from the great Howard Thurman, who said, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Just 2 times. So 1 more minute for that question. The next question is, how can I improve my relationship with my solitude? And if you don't mind, I'm going to minister at you for a second with that, which is I'm learning even more in 2025. I learned the difference between isolation and solitude. Isolation is an illusory experience that we create for ourselves that sees ourselves as disconnected from all reality. It's the closest thing to hell that I can imagine. Solitude is embracing the kind of alone time that helps you realize that you are never alone and that you are connected with all of the world. And so that's what I mean by this question, is how you can improve your alone time in a way that doesn't disconnect, but makes you feel more connected with your loved ones, your purpose, and with spirit. How can I improve my relationship with my solitude? And a guiding quote from Ernest Holmes to go with it: "The Spirit animates everything that I do, say, or think. Ideas come to me daily, and these ideas are divine ideas. They direct me and sustain me without effort. I am continuously directed. I am compelled to do the right thing at the right time, to say the right word at the right time, to follow the right course at all times. I live in the Spirit of truth and am conscious that the Spirit of truth lives in me." Just one more minute for that question. One more question, and it may be a little tricky for you, but just answer it with whatever comes up. Take it whatever way you want to. The question is, what am I ready for this year, 2026, that I was afraid to admit I wasn't ready for before? You ever have that where I know I'm ready to step into this intention? Maybe not. I'm going to give a whole sermon series on meh, the power of meh. Okay, sorry. What am I ready for this year that I was afraid to admit I wasn't ready for before? And a great quote from some dude named Roger Teal, who said, "What is the spirit-inspired possibility for my life that a part of me is afraid to comprehend?" That might be the better question. Just one more minute for that one. So I invite you to wrap that up, and we'll move into a bit of sharing here. I do invite you to consider what it would mean to live your life, not like you were always entering a high-security government facility, but that everywhere you went felt like home. Like it was a place you could let your hair down and just be yourself. And I know there's all sorts of cultural reasons and political reasons and religious reasons that says we always have to have our guard up 24/7. But I've had enough of that. How about you? Yeah, and so when we're here in the sanctuary and we're about to share, please let your hair down. Please know it's okay to put your feet up even though you're not supposed to. We just want you to be yourself. And if you're going to find a creative impetus in your life, it's never going to work by trying to be someone else. Life will never work for you by trying to be someone that you're not. So you might as well embrace who you are, warts and all, and realize that those warts might be part of what's most beautiful about you if you utilize them correctly. So that being said, we're going to open up to a little bit of sharing. We don't have a lot of time. 2 rules for the sharing. 1, that it's brief and sincere. And 2, no one speaks twice before everyone speaks once. What that means is you only get to share 1 time because probably everyone won't share here, okay? So, but I would love someone who's at home enough to answer the question for us, what they wrote for what were some of the challenges you faced in 2025 and what is the gift they can bring you in 2026? Anybody? Yes, great. I'm coming over with the talking stick.
Thank you, Josh.
Yes.
What were some challenges in 2025 that and what is the gift they bring to you in 2026? 2025, I had a business partner that was not a good business partner and put me through a lot of trials and difficulties. But I'm happy to say that I got rid of him. And now I'm in a new chapter of my life where my business is successful. And I'm hoping to take that momentum and energy and gift to in my life, accept it more.
Yeah, we don't always have to say that the bad thing that happened to us is okay, but the great thing is we can say, you know what? In spite of it, it gave me this gift that I'm going to make useful in my future. And that, that's the point of that question. Thank you for sharing that. One more, Marcelo.
Worrying that I was not good enough or didn't contribute enough. And just do more.
Yes, how can those old relic beliefs, instead of being things that drive us to hurt ourselves, can be motivators to pivot back to the truth of who we are every time they come up? I think this is the only one I'll answer today, but for me, I had a tough 2025. And so I had challenges of both moving through my own grief of the loss of my father and guiding my family through that, experienced the end of a 16-year relationship, which involved changes for all of our family, especially our daughter living in 2 different places and navigating that. And I wouldn't wish those experiences on anybody, and yet almost all of us will go through them at some point. And the amazing thing, and it's hard to accept because you wish they wouldn't have happened the way that they did, it stepped me and initiated me into a new level of ministry, a new level of compassion and open-heartedness, which was so interesting because it works as well. Next year is 20 years of ministry for me. And so although personally things changed a lot, there's also this incredible resurgence of next for me in that. And I heard a message at one point, and I think it was even in my father's voice, and it said, Josh, things fall apart not because you did anything wrong, but so that things can get better. And I wonder if that might be helpful for someone in this room here. The next question, if we have a couple sharers, what is something that gave you joy in life in 2025 that you want to build on in 2026? I'm fast. Okay.
This is a good one, and it's a mile-high one. In 2024, I lost my dog in a wheelchair, Watson, who did all kinds of community service. And in 2025, I adopted Bella. And Bella was a greeter for the first candlelight service, and she now has a place in the Mile High community. She's being trained as a therapy dog to work with kids, so I look forward to engaging her in the community.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it takes a lot of forgiveness to step into that new life like you have. I love that. Thank you. One more. Maybe it would be good to have background music. A huffing, puffing minister here. We're fine. We're fine here.
Hello.
Hello.
What I noticed that really brought me joy in 2025 was a way of working, that I owned how good I am with details and managing and structure. And instead of trying not to offend anybody like that, I freaking love that. So I can do that more and bring it, and see where that takes me.
I love that. In my experience, I've found over and over, if something feels missing in my life, it's me. It's demonstrating and bringing forth who I am because I've sacrificed or abandoned myself to do something that someone else told me is the right way, and they're full of shit about that, right? And so bringing that who we are to it is the transformative presence that we need. Fantastic. Our next question was, how can I improve my relationship with my solitude? Anyone have anything cool come up for them? Hopefully on this side of the room. No. I'll be right there, Caroline. Where was that? Right here.
The thing that I would like to focus on is establishing a different evening ritual to bring peace and calm and close out the day. And I don't have that right now, so it's kind of a mishmash. So that's what I'd like to do.
I love that. For me, I do my meditation and prayer in the morning, and my evening ritual is my forgiveness ritual. It's my letting things go. Who pissed me off today that I know I love and I can see their higher truth, or what did I do that can release? So not advising, but just throwing it out there.
I don't want to say this out loud, but that it's good to say it out loud. I want to substitute my evening TV with reading and alcohol with tea.
Great. I've been working that, yes. I compromise on myself, Caroline, so I do reading and tea Monday through Thursday, and then drink as much as I want and listen to music on the weekends. We'll do two more really quick, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to focus on my meditation practices at various times throughout the day, even if they're short. And then lately, because I've been meditating a lot, I've been more aware of being present in the moment. And so being present in the moment allows me to take in whatever comes, not from my own head.
I love that. And that's something I'm learning. I have to stop looking at my past to save me. The past no longer has what I need to move on and what is. It's this moment has it, and stepping into that is important. Last question is, what am I ready for this year that I was afraid to admit that I wasn't ready for before?
Listening for what I want and asking for what I want.
Ooh, say that one more time because we all need to hear it.
Listening for what I want rather than others and asking for what I want.
Yes. Ooh, I love that. That's a good one for me too. Not just what do I need, and realizing what I need is not to figure out what everyone else needs around me so that I can get them to like me.
Going deeper within to find the amazing places within myself and having the courage to live from that space.
I love that. Just finding the courage to live in that space. For me, that looks like discovering all those weird voices within me and actually realize they're kind of smart and cool. Yes, and then integrating them together.
Launching my business offerings, creating compelling descriptors and invites, committing dates and times and reaching out to fill these offerings, knowing that I am gifted and ready to share now, to set monetary expectations to show that I value what I offer and the benefits to all who attend.
Thank you so much. I love that. And I love your setup here.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. Thank you for that sharing, everybody. Did you have something you wanted to share? You're fine. Okay. Mwah. Thanks for all your help today, Nancy. So there's one little piece before we go into our intention setting, and it's called a what was versus what is worksheet. And I want to remind us of Norman Lear here again. What's over is over. What's next is calling us. And this is just a brief, honest self-assessment that I invite you to do with yourself. And I know it involves a little algebra, but it's looking at these areas of your life and asking yourself what was greater? What was or what is? This is not an easy exercise. The spiritual idea we're bringing is if over and over what was is greater than what is, you're in trouble. As great as what was, our spiritual belief is that what is and what is to be is always greater. And yet, you can't get there unless you get there authentically. So I don't want us to make it up. So I invite you to look at these different areas and just mark what is greater for you in your experience. Brad?
Are you using the word greater to mean good greater or more prominent greater?
Oh, good question. More good greater. Thank you. Not more prominent, but just more, yeah, and they'll have some. Like a lot of us, we know there's less days ahead of us than we have behind us, but that doesn't mean those days ahead aren't fuller and richer than the days that were. Does that make sense? So the first one here is when you think of family, which is greater? What was in the past or what is and what is to be? When it comes to vocation, it could be calling or career as well. Which is greater, what was or what is? Your way of working in the world. Health and well-being. Is it all in the past? Or is it something present and to come? Friendships. Which is greater, what was or what is? When it comes to your romantic life, which is greater, what was or what is? I think of that great song, I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. It's one thing to tell your partner, I love you for who you've been. It's another thing to look at them and say, I'm so excited and love you so much for who you are now, and the future for our relationship. So what's greater for you? Spiritual growth. What was or what is? If you're here, I think everyone should be able to put what is on this one. And then lastly, prosperity. Is the best what was, or is it what is and what is to come? And I'm a fan of big, sweeping, miraculous change, but I'm a bigger fan of small, minute, little bit, everyday change. I love what John Wooden said. He said that little things make big things happen. And one of the things I hope you get about this intention setting before we move into it is it's not the big change, but it's all the little things that you do that are going to support that big thing to take place. And so if you're honest with your assessment here, how many people have more in what was than in what is? Okay, how many people have more in what is than what was? Okay, that's very exciting. I was like right in the middle. And here's my thing. If you can just change one of those, what was to what is this year, just one, I think it will make a transformational impact in your life. And as we move into this intention process, I hope that your answers here might influence what comes up for you. That being said, we're going to now move into our intention process, which is kind of a meditation vision-y type of thing. It's a creative process, and it involves knowing what we want. If you know what you want, that's always good, but it's okay to not know what you want, because what we're going to do is seek to get in touch with the inner wisdom within our own being and open up to the higher mind, One of the things that we say in Science of Mind is that thoughts create our reality, and there's some truth to that, but I want to give you a slightly deeper version of that. That for a lot of us, we've got a bunch of surface stuff. That on the surface of our minds are all of these thoughts, and in my experience, sometimes they're not even my own. It's like radio frequency stuff. And that, that's the part of me that my mind is always in the gutter too. Anyone else have that? Where it's all this stuff. I'm not saying the consistency of those thoughts can't be creative, but there are deeper thoughts. And when we meditate or when we contemplate, we begin to go past the surface into these deeper places. And these are where the ideas are. These are where the deeper truths are. This is what the mystics have called the secret place of the Most High. This is where your higher intelligence is. And so part of what we're doing is we're moving past all the surface, sorry for my French, all this surface shit, all this stuff. And we're going down to a deeper place to be informed by a greater reality. Okay? So I just invite us to keep that image as we kind of go within. And if you have your worksheet, you'll be able to use this for that. And if you have a journal, I'm going to ask you the questions, and you're going to do just great with them. So just visualizing ourselves moving deeper and deeper within. What Joseph Campbell called the inner exploration of outer space. That the last great frontier for humankind is our own consciousness. Just to move into the depth of what that is. And if you have your worksheet, we're going to the top of page 4. But if not, you can just write down the following question as we're in touch with this higher wisdom self, which is the truth of who we are within us, which is something always active in our lives, whether we're aware of it or not, that is ready to become the more prominent, not so secret part of ourselves, that is right here and right now to help provide us guidance and wisdom that our small s self does not need to come up with anymore, because this higher s self within us already knows, already has, and is right here to guide us with the wisdom to help us step into that. And the question is, what is the grandest idea I can cultivate for 2026? What is the grandest idea for me in my life that I can cultivate for 2026? Just allow whatever comes forward to come forward. When I did this, what came up was, I live in full harmony with right now, and the momentum of positive good for me, my loved ones, and my spiritual community unfolds with guidance, joy, and transformational well-being. You don't have to be as artsy as that, but just allow that highest theme to come forward for you. Just give me one more moment for that. We're now going to move into 4 different key areas that may be infused with this grandest idea that just came forward for you. And the first area I'm calling vocation, but you may want to write a different word for it. Vocation means work, but it also means calling. It could be your way of being of service in the world, your purpose, what in Latin they call your modus operandi. And just again, tuning into that deep wisdom, just invite you to ask yourself, what is my key intention for my vocation or calling in 2026? What is my key intention? So I also invite you to ask yourself, what are some things I'd like to accomplish in this area in 2026? If you have the worksheet, you'll see the typo that you will also make 10 times this month. It says 2025, but we mean, what are some things I'd like to accomplish in this area in 2026? And lastly, what must be let go of so what can be can come forth? What must be let go of so what can be can come forth? In other words, what about vocation is over so that we can step more boldly into what's next? my intention around vocation has to do with my ministry, and it's amazing to see how much I'm called to let go of, not to embody new things, but by letting go of things that I've done in the past that I thought served me and made me effective are actually the very things that need to be let go of, and what needs to be embodied would naturally happen if I let go of those old crutches and ways of doing things. So just wrapping that up, we're going to move to our next key area, the quadrant of relationship. And that's very broad, so you may want to be more specific. You may want to put your marriage. You may want to put a relationship with your children or friendships, or just leave it as is, relationship. And just tuning into that inner wisdom, knowing it has that ability to articulate just what the need is. We ask, what is my key intention for relationship in 2026? What are some things that I'd like to accomplish in the area of relationships in 2026? What are some things I'd like to accomplish in this area in 2026? And lastly, what must be let go of so what can be can come forth? What must be let go of so what can be can come forth? We're now going to move to the next. We have two more areas. And the next one is the area of well-being, which you can call well-being, but you could call it self-care. You could call it health. and ask that inner wisdom, what is my key intention for my well-being in 2026? And just from this key intention, what are some things I'd like to accomplish in this area in 2026? Just lastly, what must be let go of so what can be can come forth? What must be let go of so what can be can come forth? And just coming forward, Mouse, to say, not releasing what's wrong with you, but what you think is what's wrong with you might be the right way to answer this one. Just giving a little bit more time to wrap up that last question. And the last area I call play. It's very, very important. Could be fun, but it's those things that bring the spirit of you into your life. I also like to use adventure here. However, adventure involves a road of trials. So you might just say, forget that. I just want to have fun. And just moving to that playful heart within us, let's allow it to tell us what our key intention for play should be in 2026. And also ask that sense of interplay. What are some things I'd like to accomplish in this area in 2026? And then lastly, what must be let go of so what can be can come forth? What must be let go of so that true play can come forth? As you're wrapping that up, and as I invite Nancy June to complete this process with a ringing of the bowls, my answer to this one is I discovered this part of myself that never thinks he's capable of doing what he's about to do. Whether it's going to sleep or delivering a sermon or teaching a class, he never thinks he's capable of that which is he's about to do. And so my plan is to, in a very loving way, release him, to execute him, to let him go. And I'm going to have a memorial service for him to celebrate all of his accomplishments. And I'm going to fully step into that part of me that knows with a little bit of preparation, I am capable of doing whatever is before me. And that, because that's the biggest thing that keeps me from play and fun in my life. And the thing is, when we bring that spirit of play into our lives, it's the very creative impetus that what we're about to do needs to have a whole lot of fun. Isn't that right? Yes. So to close this process, Nancy's going to ring the bowl 5 times. And when those 5 rings are done, it will mean that our intentions have been planted in the soil of the universe and that they are sprouting. And so it is. You know that and so it is has roots in that phrase abracadabra. So that whenever we say amen in our teaching, we're in a sense saying abracadabra, which is quite magical and cool. So stretching, again, this is totally an optional process, but before we close, we're going to take 5 minutes, and if you would like to identify someone else in this room to share what you want from your intentions with, I want to create space for that. I also want to create the space for the people who do not want to do that right now, so you are welcome to just be in your space, and so feel free. It's okay to say no if someone asks you to partner up and you don't want to do it. However, what's not okay, and this is for you watching online too, I want you to commit to sharing this with someone, even if it's me. So JREEVES at Mile High, that's high like a high, and that's a long story about why they did that, church.org. So jreeves at milehighchurch.org. I would love to sacredly listen to your intentions, but we're going to give 5 minutes in this room right now if there's someone around you that you're willing to share anything that you are willing to share, because that helps it to come true. .org. Yeah, we're not done yet. I'm going to tell you. No, I will tell them before we close, okay?
I really wanted to speak to it.
One of my intentions is to be an even better daddy to you.
So you may do whatever I want.
That's how I should be a better daddy, by letting you do whatever you want. If you're not sharing right now, you may want to take a moment to write down who you would want to share your intentions with.
Like this on my dress. Swipe up. Try it like this. When's it time for me to do it?
In just a minute, couple minutes.
But Daddy, there's a certain white stone I wanted.
Okay.
Can I go?
So just 2 more minutes for sharing.
I'm actually going to go backstage and then you will announce me and then I'll come out.
All right, we're going to wrap up our sharing and appreciate everyone taking time to do that. And again, if you're not sharing now, think of someone you can share with. Okay, so just a couple things before we begin our workshop today. After this, for those who are here in person, we're having a Going Deeper workshop in the community center that will start right at 11:45. And let me tell you what we're going to do, because some of it you can do on your own, or if you're not here in person. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create creative affirmations for our intentions. And so that's a little tricky perhaps to do on your own if you haven't had an experience. And if you need support with that, you can call our prayer and care center here at Mile High Church. You can book a session with a practitioner. What a wonderful gift to do for yourself. And they can help you listen to your attention and articulate those affirmations with you. The other thing we're going to do is my recommendation for intention realization, which is to come out of here with 4 key intentions. 4 key intentions: 1 for vocation, 1 for well-being, 1 for relationship, and 1 for play. And what you do, and I can't recall if we have a slide for it or not, is I want you on 1 sheet to write monthly, 1 sheet to write weekly, and 1 sheet to write daily. And on each of those, you may have to stream of consciousness it at first, but you write some things that you can do for your intention once a month. And so one of the things I want to do involves success in ministry. And so what are 5 things that I can do to support that intention? I can have coaching sessions. I can check in with my team to ensure their success and thriving for all. I can continue to partner with the man that I am, knowing he is essential to my ministry, and preparation. I look ahead and creatively plan, which means giving the time to do that. And so those are 5 things that I'm committing to doing every month to support that intention coming about. The next is weekly. What are the weekly things that I'm able to do? So I can tell you, if you choose 5 things and you accomplish 3 of them, great, right? Take it easy on yourself, right? So I'm going to write 3 hours a week. I'm going to write prayers that inspires me. I'm going to engage with what I'm teaching and becoming more motivated by. I have this process called 4 words. That's a different workshop, but they're 4 virtues that I really want to embody throughout the year. And so I'm going to weekly measure how I've done that in terms of connection, aligning, magic, and partnership. I'm going to up-level my classes and workshops, and I'm going to help others be successful. And so those are things that I can focus on doing every week. And then lastly, these are the most important. What are the things I'm going to do every day? No days off. Spiritual practice. I'm going to work with my creative affirmations, which if you're coming to the workshop next, you're going to learn to articulate. I love to spend time with them in my prayers every day. Some sort of writing. I'm going to continue to hand off operational control at work so I can be more of a minister. I'm going to have some sort of creative output, and I'm going to stick with that gratitude journal process. I'm going to do it every day, even just for a minute. So this isn't about putting a bunch of weight on yourself. It's about choosing the things that you can do every day. And one of the things we will do in the next workshop too is we'll use B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits method, where you anchor your new habit. So you take that daily practice, like gratitude journal, like between brushing my teeth and getting my glass of water, I will do my gratitude journal. So what you do is you identify regular habits that you do every day. When I put my head on the pillow at night, I will say my creative affirmation, right? When I get to work and turn off the key, I will text the friend that I want to connect with. And so you take these daily habits and you put them on the back of something you already have as a good habit, and that helps you build it. Isn't that cool? And so we'll be exploring that in the workshop as well. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for everyone for giving money to the church. There's a love offering bin or a link on the page. I'm going to invite Sherry Clark up, who's going to say a benediction. And when she's done, to celebrate the completion of our intentions, there will be a brief cartwheel show going on behind me on the stage by Nancy June. So, and let's thank Nancy June for assisting us with the workshop. She did a great job. And there's snacks in the community center to lure you as well. And we'll get started over there right at around 11:45. Thank you, Sherry, for doing this.
Right here, in this moment, we recognize that God is. God is all of our intentions that we have identified. God is every intention that we have yet to identify. God is our heart. God is our soul. God is our breath, and God is our life. Right here, right now, we know that fullness, that oneness, that magic that is. We accept that magic happens and that it happens for us, in us, through us. And 2026 is the year that we deepen into all of this, and so it is. May we go in peace.
So it is. Thank you, Sherry. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great 2026. Thank you. Come on, Nancy June.